The race weekend from Talladega Superspeedway is set to come to a close as we get ready for race number 10 of Division 2 of the NNSCRA Skittles Superspeedway Series. Yesterday we ended up having our second two-time winner in Division 1. Over here we've had 9 races, 9 different race winners, so right now in terms of battling for the playoff spots, this is the more exciting series just at this current point in time. But I'm thinking that we're getting closer and closer towards the end of the regular season, and it's not going to be long before Division 2 has a multi-time winner, and who knows, it could take place at this very track here today, because you got John Andrews lined up on the pole position. Andrews took the checkered flag back at Coca-Cola Superspeedway 2 weeks ago, so could he pick up his second win in 3 starts? We're going to have to wait and see. He defied the odds in the qualifying session on Friday evening, as he was one of, I think, 4 drivers that made it into round 2 that hadn't had a pole previously. The odds were greatly stacked that we were going to have a 2-time pole sitter, but it was John Andrews besting Jake Galloway, who'll start on the outside of the front row, to be able to continue the streak right now at 9 races, 9 different pole sitters, and right now we're actually, for the complete both divisions, we are up to 20 races with 20 different drivers that have sat on the pole. There'll be 29 laps of racing here today at Talladega Superspeedway. If you didn't tune into yesterday's Division 1 race, we had, I wouldn't say a wreck fest, but we did have a big one very early on in the race, and it kind of shuffled the field up, and the timing that it came out had us not really have any green flag pit stop strategy. So we'll see if we have green flag pit stops in this one, or will we again see drivers trying to avoid where the storm might be brewing for the big one to strike. Let's go down track side. Let's go with those most famous words in motorsports as we get ready to go racing.
Drivers, start your engines!
Apparently Michael Buffer here at Talladega, Alabama. And as we get set for the field to roll off, let's do what we normally do here, especially during this point of the season. We're first going to give you what your playoffs look like coming to this race, and then your overall points, as there, of course, is the regular season championship also up for grabs. So right now, your playoff grid would currently look like this. Fury Gamington would have the number 1 seed. Jeff Scott, John Andrews would follow. Caleb Farrell, Charles Sandfer, they'd be 4 and 5. Nathan Ormond, Vince Almariego would be 6 and 7. Right now in the final spot would be William Brock. Now he is the last driver with a win that's inside the top 30 in points. He is 30th in the standings coming into this race. So talk about a driver that needs a good run. He starts this race from the 9th position inside of row 5. Now the other former winner that we had this season, our winner from Madrid, Sedale Salera, did not have a good run last week at Pepsi Superspeedway and dropped out of the top 30 in points. He's right now 34th in the standings, so not only does he not currently have a spot in the playoffs because he would be 9th out of the 9 drivers so far with a win, but he's also outside the top 30, so that win right now, points-wise, is null and void. William Brock, being down 30th in the points, needs one of 2 things to happen or not happen. He either needs a good finish to get himself back up there away from that cut line, or he needs to have none of the drivers that are ahead of him in the point standings go to victory lane, because that would knock him out of the playoff grid and move one of those drivers into one of those 8 playoff spots. So here we go then, 29 laps of racing here at Talladega. A couple of Chevy Camaros will bring us down. Andrews and Galloway, green flag in the air, let's roll at Dega. To that outside line, got a good jump there, did Galloway, and the outside line was formed up pretty well. Now they're starting to break up though. That inside line will get the better run off of turn 2, and Andrews will try and pull them to the front. Galloway battles back on the top side though. Now losing a little bit of ground down the back straightaway with the straightaway speed, and it looks like Andrews will clear him for the top position, trying to bring Simon Salera and Benny Watson with him on that bottom lane. John Andrews trying to get the bonus point, lead the first lap as a car's blowing up there. That's Tristen Allen in the 37. Blew up right in the middle of the pack. That will not bring out a caution. It happened out of turn 4, and he was able to get back to pit road. Tough break there for Tristen Allen, who had a great run last week that team's had an up and down the last couple of weeks. They ran well at Pensacola, then they ended up getting involved in I think it was a wreck at Coca-Cola, dropped down in points, ran well again last week at Pepsi Super Speedway, and now looks like they'll be the first car to score a DNF here today at Talladega. As William Brock now going for the top position, winner at Armory Digital on fuel strategy. This could very well, if we're able to go green the majority of the race, could be a fuel strategy race as well. And of course, we already documented Brock down 30th in the points, needs a good run here today. As Alex Benyacko with teammate Jack Hallec, they are now to the inside of him. Now Benyacko's going to get put to the middle. Halleck's going to go below him for the top spot. He's bringing Oneal Balvin with him. While this is going on, I realized that before we went green, I had not actually given you guys the overall point standings coming into this race. Fury Gamington still has a commanding points lead, 60 points in hand over now second in the standings, Nathan Stapleton, as Oneal Balvin's going to go for the top position. Third points right now is Jeff Scott, John Andrews in fourth, Karson Gum in fifth. A couple of drivers that really jumped up in the points after good runs last week at Pepsi Super Speedway. Batson 6 spots up to 6th. William Flickinger 6 spots up to 7th. Tristen Allen, who we just saw blow up, he had jumped up 7 spots, came into this race 8th in the standings. Kyle Langeland jumped up into the top 10 to 9th, and Benny Watson jumped back up into the top 10, picked up 7 spots up to 10th place coming into this race. Of course, the biggest gainer in the points was last week's winner, Charles Sandfer. Went to victory lane and moved from 32nd up to 17th coming into today's event. And we know that Charles Sandfer is really good at Talladega Super Speedway as well. I believe I documented this back during the qualifying session that we had here on Friday. Charles Sandfer in the Hershey's Cup Series had, I believe it was 3 career wins at Talladega. As a matter of fact, there was one season where Sandfer swept both of the Talladega races. Trey Wright's going to take a couple of laps out front. Now here come a couple of drivers to the inside that really are struggling in the points and could use a good run. Zachary Fitzwater there in the 59. He's 32nd in points. Spent a good portion of this beginning of the season down at the bottom of the point standings. And the car to his inside is the car that currently is at the bottom of the points, James Shelly. Dead last in points. As a matter of fact, you look at just how badly he's doing. The gap between him and 39th in points, which right now is Jake Galloway, is a total of 22 points. So he's that far back from 39th in points. Only 146 points accumulated so far this season in the first 9 races. So Shelly definitely trying to bounce back here today. Will not get a bonus point for leading that lap, I don't think. Nope, it was Daniel Voyles by a splitter, and now Adam Garcia is going to split them 3 wide. He's going to go for the lead, and here comes the 30 of Sedale Salera. We already documented about the fact that Sedale is outside the top 30 in points, needs to get back into the top 30 in the standings, and of course a second win would really help that team out as well. This is Talladega Super Speedway. Track we were at not too long ago was Madrid Super Speedway, where Sedale Salera picked up his first win of the season. I mentioned that Madrid is basically just like Talladega in terms of length, configuration, banking in the turns, everything like that. It's just it looks a little bit different visually. Well, we're at Talladega, so could Sedale Salera have lightning strike twice at a track that he's very familiar with the layout? He also will not lead a lap, as it will be Eric Sadler getting the top spot there. And here comes Jeff Scott to the inside. Jeff Scott's been kind of one of the quiet drivers so far this season. Of course, he had that win at M&M Super Speedway, but we won't really talk about him much in terms of the playoffs. Just we kind of take for granted the fact he's got that win at M&M's. But he's actually been really consistent so far this season. After getting that win at M&M's, has not fallen outside of the top 10 in points. He's been up there in the top 5 in the standings for a majority of this season. And Jeff Scott could very well be one of those silent drivers once we get into the chase for the championship, provided he makes it in one of those 8 playoff positions. As Charles Sandfer now going to battle here with Nathan Stapleton. Sandfer, of course, battling to get his 2nd straight win. Stapleton, on the other hand, trying to put the cherry on top of what's been a very consistent season. 2nd in the points coming into this race, only to Fury Gamington. We're trying to get what would be the first win of the season for Otter Island Motorsports. Their team's been not too bad overall. Carter Friesen's had his struggles over in the Division 1, however. He's actually really turned it up in terms of good finishes last couple of weeks, having, I believe it was back-to-back 7th place finishes so far in the last 2 races. Let me just double check on that. No, it was back-to-back 7th place finishes at Coca-Cola and Pepsi those last 2 weeks. This past week at Talladega, Carter finished in 35th, so a little bit of a hitch in the momentum that team has had. But regardless, Carter Friesen's been having some slightly better finishes than he did at the beginning of the season. And then you've got Benny Watson and you've got Nathan Stapleton. They're both up inside of the top 10 in the point standings. Stapleton's 2nd, and Watson right now currently in 10th. There's the 4th entry there, that bright green car in the middle, Jesse Turner. And Turner comes into this race currently in 36th. So right now he's kind of the lone sheep that really needs to get the program turned around for the team, at least right now in terms of finishes, as William Flickinger, who just last week moved back up into the top 10 in the points, now 6th in the standings, 7th in the points I should say. He's going to take a turn out in front. Had a lot of Toyotas up here at one moment. You had Flickinger, Bloomfield, Turner, Stapleton. Now Rob Evans trying to take the top spot, and here comes Nathan Ormond and Fury Gamington, couple of former winners. Matter of fact, you've got 3 former winners lined up nose to tails there. Ormond, our Dragonette winner, Gamington, our Pigs Creek winner, and our Daytona winner, Caleb Farrell in the 96, all on that inside line, trying to move towards the front. Fury Gamington, we've sung the praises of the consistency of this driver. 9 races, 3 top 5s, 8 top 10s, plus that Pigs Creek win. Undoubtedly, right now, making a case for himself that he, as early as maybe race 12, race 13, could be locked into one of the 16 playoff spots. And Gamington again up here towards the front of the field. People will tell you, especially in a 40-car field, people that have driven these cars, it is so difficult to be consistent because each super speedway is different in terms of how you can drive 3 wide, in terms of how good the suck-up is, in terms of how good your car overall is. Fury Gamington and that team have been unbelievable in their restrictor plate program. Question is, though, will he lead this lap? He'll be 3 wide between himself, Jordan Lopez, and Simon Salera. Scoring says it was the 10. 4 wide. Well, they settle it out. The reason I got excited for 4 wide is especially down into turn 2, or into turn 3 I should say, they have a lot of trouble getting themselves lined up and not leaning on each other into that corner, and we've completed 12 laps so far, well 11 laps coming to lap 12. And this race is very much taking on the look of maybe a fuel strategy race. As Alexander Rowe, former pole sitter, took a turn out in front. He won't lead the lap, though. Pole sitter John Andrews got by him. Now here comes Benny Watson with a rear deck lid full of Keith Batson. Batson's been the guy on fire last couple of weeks. He hasn't won, but he has climbed out of the cellar of the point standings. Batson at one point was down outside the top 30 in the points, and now he's up in the 6th position in the standings. And he's going to try and get out in front here at Talladega. Of course, Batson, the former Hershey's Cup Series champion. So here's the big question now. If we do not have a caution, what's the fuel window for these guys? Because we really don't know. We ended up having the caution come out, I think it was somewhere around lap 11 in yesterday's Division 1 race. So we really never got a clear idea of what the fuel window was. That timing of the caution allowed them to be able to make it the entire rest of the way on fuel. So, I mean, if I go by previous Talladega races that I've had, I would say the fuel window somewhere is around lap 19, lap 20, somewhere in that range. Maybe someone towards the back might have been saving, might be able to make it to lap 21. So I think somewhere within the next 4 to 5 laps is when we'll see these drivers maybe start making moves to the bottom line and get ready to make these green flag pit stops. Is Josh Drake going to take a turn out in front? First time we've seen him up in front today, and now he's going to lose the top spot. James Shelly's going to go to the inside. Here comes Dillon Young, and there's Patrick Smith. First time we've seen the 58 up inside of the top 5. Same for Kyle Langeland, that Chicago Bears Ford Fusion. Of course, the Chicago Bears, in the time of this recording, just yesterday, clinched the AFC North. So Kyle Langeland Very happy in that race car with the Chicago Bears logo on hood, but of course as well, he's been doing great this season. 9th in the point standings coming into this race, despite only 1 top 5 and only 2 top 10s. So, you know, a lot of drivers, a lot of people, you know, they don't look at these drivers up there in the point standings and look at the statistics. You don't have to finish in the top 10 every week in order to be considered consistent. If you're outside the top 10 in 11th, 12th, 13th each week, you're going to pick up spots in the point stand. That's exactly what Langeland has done this season. Whoa, how about that move there from Kyle Langeland? Cody Llamas does the same. He's going to go with Langeland on the inside line. First time we've seen the Lowe's Camaro up here towards the front. Patrick Smith will lead that lap, though. And Cody Llamas, big run with help from Sedale Salera. He's going to go 3 wide for the top position. It's definitely been a race of comers and goers. Just about everybody has taken a turn up here towards the front. A couple of drivers that I can see that may be up here towards the front momentarily that we haven't seen up front yet. Karson Gum there in the 19, Vince Almariego the 56, that bright yellow Exalta Chevrolet of Alex Gray, but give it time. Up to this point, we have 39 of our 40 cars still running. Tristen Allen, the only one out of the race. We saw him have mechanical issues there back. It was on lap 2, might have been lap 1, but I think it was lap 2. Whoa! Cody Llamas looked a little loose there. Diving from the high line to the middle line with Kyle Langeland, but so far 39 cars still running, all 39 still in the lead lap, and I believe all 39 are still in this lead pack. I think Farrell is the last car on the lead lap, and yep, there he is at the tail end of this field. So right now, basically our entire field, with the exception of Tristen Allen, still have a shot at this win. And it's going to probably come down to green flag pit stops. I think they're pitting. Some drivers are moving up there, and yep, there we go. It's feeding time at the zoo. It's going to be Sadler, Gum, Garcia, Stapleton, Sandfer, Ormond, Gamington, Flickinger. Saw a whole bunch of them back here. Hallec, Galloway, Brock, and pole sitter John Andrews. That allowed Voyles to really get out ahead of this group as everyone was checking up. Oh boy, they're 4 wide back here. Alex Gray put in the middle. Hopefully they'll settle this out, and they do. Looks like Sedale Salera was able to tuck in line behind Dillon Young. So we had about maybe 15 cars come down pit road there. That was on lap 17. That's a little bit earlier than I expected. Maybe these drivers just now entered into the fuel window, deciding they can make it the rest of the way, so they might as well short pit. And now here comes our second group. And everybody's going to come down with the exception of Kyle Langeland and Alex Benyacko. They're going to stay out. Look at this. 3 wide coming to pit road. This is a congested pit lane here for these drivers. And amazingly, we're not having anybody get wrecked so far. Oh, there might have been some contact back there between, I think that was Trey Wright and Benny Watson. That was absolute bedlam. Here's everybody that came to pit road back on lap 17, merging back on track. Benyacko right now in second, one of 2 drivers that stayed out. The other one, the race leader, Kyle Langeland there in the 62. Trying to get around Eric Sadler so he can come to pit road. And he's not going to be able to this time. I don't know if this is strategy and he was staying out on purpose, or if he got boxed out of coming to pit lane. Benyacko is going to pit. Kyle Langeland certainly does not want to end up running out of fuel just due to the result he wasn't able to get to pit lane. Trying to get up to him as we got all these cars to deal with that are coming back out on track. Langeland appears to still be up to speed. Uh-oh. That car's decreasing. He's out of fuel. He's out of fuel. Langeland's out of fuel. He's got to get that car down to the bottom. He finally will. He will get back to pit road, but okay, so he did not stay out on his own accord. He was boxed out of pit road by Eric Sadler. He tried to go to the outside. He should have probably just let the 14 go. It's going to cost him some time on track, but the fortunate thing is it happened on the back straightaway, and he had enough momentum to be able to get back to the start-finish line. So I do believe that the battle for the race lead now is going to go on up around this area right here. I believe the race lead's actually going to cycle around to Karson Gum in the 19. He crossed the line in third last time by. We saw him make the pass on Benyacko. That was for second. And when he gets around Kyle Langeland, that would be for the top position. So right now, this is what your top 5 would look like right now, with Gum, Sadler, Voyles, Stapleton, and Alex Gray. And I should point out, none of these 5 drivers have been to victory lane yet this season, as Sadler up the middle is going to lead that lap. Well, no, he's not. Langeland actually led the lap. They're going to pass him now for the first, second, third, fourth, and fifth positions right there. So actually it was Langeland leading that lap. Sadler won the battle to the line for second. So now with 9 laps to go, this is where it starts to get interesting, because you've got 5 cars up in this lead pack. Now it's the question of that second pack, which right now is being led by Nathan Ormond and Jack Hallec. They've got a lot more drivers in their group here. Flickinger and Llamas, Garcia, Almariego. Looks like Langeland's going to be able to merge with this group. Got Chris Maley, Benyacko, Brock, Sandfer, Young, and then trying to keep up with them, Balvin, Bloomfield, Fitzwater, and Gamington. Question is, are they going to be able to catch? Halleck's the one that's leading the charge. They're about 2 seconds back from the race leader, which right now is Daniel Voyles. As this group is kind of getting themselves single file, that's going to help them to be able to pull away from that lead pack where they are double wide for about 3 rows deep and continuing to battle for 6th. So Alex Gray step out of line, but he tucked right back in line as they headed into 3. And especially through the corners going single file is going to help them get a lot of distance back to 6th place in that second pack. So let's look at these drivers here, this top 5 that has a shot for the win unless something drastic happens and that second pack is able to catch them. As that last time by, it stayed about 2 seconds difference from 1st back to 6th. So Daniel Voyles comes into this race 26th in the standings, had a great run last week at Pepsi Superspeedway, jumped up 5 spots in the standings. He's down near that 30th in the points cutoff line, so a good run or a win would get him away from that. Alex Gray, however, on the flip side of that coin, he's 28th in points, but he did not have a good run last week at Pepsi. Dropped 5 spots in the standings to where he currently is. And you got Karson Gum. We've documented him, been up on the top 10 for the last couple of weeks. He's 5th in standings coming into this race. Really could use a good run. A win might lock himself up a spot in the playoffs this season. Eric Sadler comes into this race currently situated 25th in points. He also dropped 5 spots in the standings last week after Pepsi Superspeedway. And of course, we already documented about Nathan Stapleton. Stapleton comes into this race 2nd in points. He's trying to cut down the points lead between himself and Fury Gamington for the overall point standings. But I just noticed 3/10 was cut down by the second pack. These guys are double wide here in this lead pack, and that's allowing 6th place on back to reel them in. Let's see if that pack gains any this time. This group might want to get back to single file here to try and pull away again. 1.74 back to 6th place last time. This time by it is 1.34. They cut it down by 4/10. If they can get within a second, I think Benyacko, who's leading that group, could get the draft off Karson Gum and pull that second pack to the front pack. Sadler moves low. Gray moves low. That's going to hinder this group's momentum. That's going to bring a lot of players to the party. So I just went through, talking about these top 5, thinking it was going to be between these guys for the race win. And it looks like we're going to have about 20 other drivers that are still going to have a shot at this victory. And I am not going to spend the time going through figuring out where those guys are positioned in the points coming into this race. But a couple of those drivers that are coming up here towards the front are former winners, trying to become the first repeat winner here in Division 2. You've got the 0-1 of William Brock. As look at this. Hello, companies here. They have caught. But you got William Brock in that group. You've also got Charles Sandfer, last week's winner, trying to go for 2 in a row. Vince Almariego, our Pensacola winners in the lead pack, as well as points leader and winner at Pigs Creek, Fury Gamington. So there is the opportunity here for a driver to get their 2nd win of the season, with the first one to be a 2-time winner in Division 2, and lock themselves up a confirmed spot in this season's playoffs. They would join the likes of Brady Burkhart and, yeah, it was just on the tip of my tongue. Brady Burkhart and Ryan Butcher, that's the other driver. Alex Gray trying to do all the blocking he can, as now Simon Bloomfield moves up into the 4th position there in the 21. Fitzwater there, Flickinger, Dillon Young, with 2.5 laps to go. Karson Gum now trying to get some momentum on that inside line. He's got Fitzwater with him. Another form where I didn't count there. Nathan Ormond there, the 95er Dragonette winner. He's got a shot to be a 2-time winner as well. I didn't see him in this pack, but he is indeed also in the running for this win. Karson Gum trying to make the move there to the top side. Alex Gray moved up to block him. Going to try and move up to block him again. Fitzwater's got to run down low. Can Gray get back down in front? No, he can't. Fitzwater's going to go to the top spot. Look at these drivers on that inside line back there. 6th, 7th on the inside line. Something says to me this race could very well go into their favor in terms of where they're positioned. It's all about being in the right place at the right time, as there is almost 1/4 laps left remaining. Next time by, they will see the white flag as now William Flickinger goes to the top position. Nathan Ormond's going to step down low. He's got Dillon Young with him. Who's going to lead when they come back to the checkers? The white flag is in the air. 1 more lap to go. Ormond moves low to block on Dillon Young. Dillon took a look. Who's going to make the move here on the back straightaway? Or will they wait until the exit of turn 4 onto the front straightaway? The dogleg front straightaway. Ormond moves up high. Dillon Young trying to get a shove from Eric Sadler. Is he going to be able to get alongside him here into 3? Yes, he will! Ormond opened the door. Dillon Young stuck his foot in. Now can Eric Sadler make a move on Dillon Young? Dillon Young going to do a lot of mirror driving. Here comes Sadler, looking low. Dillon Young moves up high, opens the door. Sadler, Young, they're going to drag race to the line. Who's going to get it here at Talladega? It's going to be Eric Sadler, winning here today at the Talladega Superspeedway. I'm not sure why Dillon Young moved up, but Eric Sadler says thank you kindly, got the momentum on the bottom, help from Jake Hallec down low, and gets Dillon Young by 2/100ths of a second. It's the second driver out of Gamington Motorsports to go to victory lane this season, and Eric Sadler, who came into this race ahead of William Brock in the point standings, may have knocked William Brock out of the playoffs and moved himself into one of those 8 playoff positions. Sadler came in 25th in points, so this will help get him away from that 30th in the standings cut line as well. And Eric Sadler becomes the 10th different driver to go to victory lane in 10 races here in Division 2. I told you Division 2 seeming to be the more exciting in terms of drivers knocking each other out for playoff positions, and it just continues on here. Eric Sadler officially 23 1/1000ths. He wins over Dillon Young. Jack Hallec will bring it home in 3rd. Nathan Ormond and Cody Llamas will complete your top 5. William Flickinger was 6th. Charles Sandfer, after his win last week, was 7th. Zachary Fitzwater 8th. Adam Garcia 9th. And Alex Gray is going to complete the top 10. Then it was Almariego, Gum, Fury Gamington, Nathan Stapleton, and Oneal Balvin. Gamington, for the second time this season, will not finish in the top 10, but still a 13th place finish. So he is going to continue to grow his points lead, as he finished only 1 position behind Karson Gum, 1 position over Nathan Stapleton, and Jeff Scott and John Andrews, they were nowhere to be found. So you look on down through the remainder of the finishing results, see where those 2 drivers ended up finishing this race. They finished quite a ways back. Oh, Jeff Scott was all the way back in 35th. And John Andrews, the pole sitter, was back in 30th. So not the runs those drivers were looking for, and that's going to hurt them in the point standings. Sedale Salera, we talked about, he needed a good run to get back into the top 30 in points. 34th. So that team really is going to be in trouble heading into next week. And then a number of drivers finished way back there, including Caleb Farrell, our Daytona winner, back in 37th. He's been dropping in the point standings. He's down to 14th in points, and he'll probably drop even more And also Keith Batson, I noticed back there as well, 31st. So that, I don't know if that's going to drop him out of the top 10 in points or not. Going to have to wait and see. Trey Wright finished way back there. Lost everybody, it seems. And so finished 39th. Of course, the only car out of the race, Tristen Allen, after his engine blew up back on, I'm pretty sure it was lap number 2. But Eric Sadler becomes the third Dodge to go to victory lane this season. Gamington did it back at Pigs Creek. Jeff Scott did it at M&M Super Speedway. And now Eric Sadler does it here today at Talladega. Well, these drivers are definitely going to have to prove themselves to see if they are going to be in the playoffs this season, because we've now had 10 different race winners and there's only 8 available playoff positions. And what better place to do that than next week, as our race weekend is at Proving Grounds. We're going to have qualifying on Friday for both Division 1 and Division 2. Then it's Division 1, Race 11 at Proving Grounds on Saturday. And Sunday evening, you'll see the Division 2 drivers get ready for their 11th race of the season. Both divisions only have 5 races remaining for the regular season before we're going to determine who will be the 8 drivers from Division 1, the 8 drivers from Division 2 that will make up the 16 drivers to battle for this season's chase for the championship. It's getting down to the nitty-gritty. Hope you guys enjoyed today's race here at Talladega. If you did, be sure to give this video a like. Subscribe to become part of the crew today. We have shown you full feature results. These are your point standings headed next week at Proving Grounds as Eric Sadler goes to victory lane here today at Talladega Superspeedway. You've been watching a production of the NNSCRA, offline racing at its best.